Welcome back once again to the India Today Mood of the Nation poll done with C Voter, our biannual mood check of what is the mood of the people. Now we're going to focus on foreign policy. It's been a major issue in the last 12 months, including in the last 5 months since the last track-up, particularly in this Trumpian world of disorder. Who better than Gaurav Sawant to join me? Because Gaurav, you were there at Howdy Trump, Namaste Trump. You've seen the various shifts that have taken place in the India-US relationship, and we are at the crossroads in a way.
That's putting it very mildly and very politely, Rajdeep. Very unlike you, I must say. The relationship is steadily going downhill. And can that collapse actually be arrested? That's the big question. And the question that we put to respondents, India-US relations under Donald Trump's second term. First term was very different. Remember, Rajdeep just spoke of Howdy Modi that I covered in Houston, Texas, and also Namaste Trump at the Motera Stadium or the Narendra Modi Stadium in Gujarat. Well, in second term, has it improved better than before? Only 21% say that. Same as before, 16% say that. Majority believe the relationship has actually worsened. That's 54%. The relationship has truly worsened, and especially with Trump tariffs. That's point one. Point two, again, the question that was put to people to respond, India-US relations under Trump's second term, 21% say it's better than before. Same as before, 16%, worsened, 54%. Let's play the second slide. We're playing the second slide now on whether India should put counter tariffs on the United States, retaliate with reciprocal tariffs, and 45% say, Rajdeep, yes, India must respond in kind. Cut GST and similar measures, 34%. There are several steps that government has already taken. Of course, I must also add that this was done before the India-EU free trade agreement. Accept his demands, just 6%, Rajdeep, just 6% say yes. Everyone wants India to respond very strongly.
Okay, let's get in. Geeta Mohan, our Executive Editor of Foreign Affairs, joins us. Geeta, your first reaction, then we'll get Raj also to respond. But your first reactions to what you've seen. Are you surprised by the numbers at all? We're also putting out India's relations with neighbours under PM Modi. 51% say they have improved, deteriorated 5% remained the same 12%. I don't know who are these 51% who say they are improved, but go ahead. Let's look at Trump first. 54% say it's worsened with Donald Trump.
Well, I'd completely agree, because if this is a recent, if the survey is about recent times, like Gaurav was putting it, Rajdeep, then yes, relations have worsened and the numbers show it. But in terms of the second question, where the question is on retaliate with reciprocal tariffs, I don't know how India can retaliate with reciprocal tariffs and then manage the economy, because the things we export and the things we take from America are vastly different. So I don't think that can be a solution. So don't quite agree with the percentage going with retaliatory tariffs. Maybe more to do with diversification. I suppose they should have added that. Should India have diversified? And what EU FTA shows is diversification. So that one bit, I suppose there could have been more. But in terms of worsening of relations, absolutely. There's no two ways.
When this survey was done, did the India-EU free trade agreement, was that factored in, or this predates that?
No, that wasn't factored in. And another thing, on the wording of, because before the show, me and Geeta were discussing this thing, there are two different questions. This question of things were improved are overarching of the 11 years of Modi government. But another question which says that, you know, how do you see India's relations in the recent time with the neighbors? A big chunk saying that they have deteriorated. But yes, that deterioration is not blamed at Modi. That deterioration is blamed at the people who are working in different neighborhood. You know, it's not, the blame is not landing on Modi. People feel like Modi has bent over backwards to do some good things with the neighbors. It's the neighbors' problem. They are not reciprocating the way that they should have reciprocated.
And Raj, those who believe that this relationship has actually improved, because, you know, Rajdeep was asking, who are these people who think that the relationship has actually improved? Well, countries like Maldives, Sri Lanka, countries, Afghanistan, India has come to their assistance, and they realize we're truly a friend in need, isn't it, Raj?
Well, you know, this is a very difficult for any leader to get along with Trump. If you ask most of the countries, they'll say the relations with the US has deteriorated as it is with India. In foreign policy, let's just like we saw in economics, there is a dual process that is happening. On one side, the government is praised for conducting its foreign policy in a robust manner. But as you drill it down, you can see the kind of critical issues or criticism that comes through on it. And we can get into it. There's a trilemma of issues that confront India's foreign policy today. One is Trump, the rampaging Trump and the tariffs that is imposed that we don't seem to be doing too well at the moment. And therefore, you're seeing that result. Things could change. We've dealt with the ups and downs of India-US relations post-nuclear, pre-nuclear. Second, let me just finish. Second is the China issue, which is blow hot, blow cold. And third, when we come to the real neighborhood as we see it, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, we have seen a complete deterioration in terms of Pakistan, a real low. Bangladesh is the other place. And Nepal, of course, is in turmoil. The way we have dealt with each of these, when you see the poll results, you will see that there is a mixed approach. The government gets praised for handling some of the tougher issues, but when it comes to, say, the narrative of Operation Sindoor and whether the government was able to counter what Trump said, there is a kind of
we will come to that question in a moment.
Saying yes, no.
I'll ask my producers to make sure that the graphics match the discussion. Has the government countered Trump's repeated claims on Operation Sindoor? 39% say yes, no say 38%. So it's a very divided audience. What is clear is there is a nationalistic element associated with foreign affairs, which is why 45% say you've got to put in reciprocal tariffs. Remember, this is the average person being interviewed. These are not specialists on foreign policy. And therefore, what seems to be coming out, Gaurav, is that while there is disappointment in some sense over the worsening ties with US, there is, of course, the reality of worsening ties with some of our neighbors. You mentioned Sri Lanka, Maldives, but let's be honest, the neighbors making the front page headlines are not Sri Lanka, Maldives, they are Pakistan, Bangladesh, even Nepal to an extent. The question arises, how should you then rate the government on foreign policy? And I think that's where the nationalistic sentiment comes, that Mr. Modi has been very clear, India first, the title of your program, but it's created with America a lot of concern. The fact is that the American relationship has clearly not worked. Something has gone wrong in Trump 2.0. The average person may not admit it, but you know, most foreign policy specialists will admit.
But
we misjudged.
92%, almost 92%, if you add it up, they want India to stand up to the bully.
Yeah, no, it's very it's very well to say that I want to stand up to the bully. How easy is it to actually stand up to the bully is a question. I'm joined at this moment by guests. Mohan Mangalam is of the Congress and Pradeep Bhandari of the BJP. Pradeep Bhandari, do you believe that India is standing up to the big bully? Or do you believe that slowly but surely we are desperate to somewhere or the other get a deal cut with Donald Trump?
Well, Rajdeep, if you will look to the question of how is the handling of the government's foreign policy, because that is a question which you have not taken, or if that is in the survey, you should broadcast it also. I would believe that more than 50% of the people in the country will agree that the Prime Minister's government has taken the foreign policy as an extension of India's national interest, and the EU deal, which has been historic and has been the biggest ever deal done by any two trading blocs worth more than $20 trillion, is in significance and a reflection of India's growing might. And just not the India-EU deal, it has been more than 8 FTAs that India has done. And post that, if you study global commentary, every global commentator is agreed that India has negotiated with strength. So yes, in today's under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, our foreign policy looks at our economic interest and our national interest. I will not go into countries specific.
Mohan Mangalam, would you agree with Pradeep Bhandari, the take that he has, or when the respondents say that 39% believe that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has responded to Trump adequately, but almost equally large number, 38%, don't seem to think so?
Particularly on Operation Sindoor.
Yeah, on Operation Sindoor, I think is what the question was asked for in the survey. And I think maybe if Trump keeps talking, and as he does, I think it's maybe 70, 80 times now that he said that he's the reason for the ceasefire. I think the more he says that, the more that number will change in favor of people feeling that Mr. Modi has not convinced them. Having said that, going beyond that, rather, I will say that I think the problem we have here is that Mr. Modi and the government went out of its way to woo Mr. Trump right from his previous regime. So the expectations were, when Mr. Trump did come to power a second time, that we would have some sort of special place in his heart, if you will, or we'd have special consideration. But he went about treating us much the same way, or you could argue even worse than many of the other countries. So there is an expectation mismatch here, of course, in the people who you have surveyed, because there was an expectation in India around the time that he came, that because of this extra relationship that he shared with Mr. Modi, we would have some sort of special consideration. That clearly is not panned out. The
But,
EU
you know,
FTA,
Rajdeep,
which
if I
was in work
may,
for...
the respondents, and
Can I-
as Yashwant Deshmukh was also pointing out, instead of kowtowing to America like many countries, because Trump has hit friends, allies, enemies, he's hit them all. In fact, China is the only one who's been able to either counter him to an extent, or India that actually diversified, went for the India-EU free trade agreement with the United Kingdom,
I think
other
also,
countries in the world.
Gaurav, Gaurav,
India is
on
not
that
buckling
point-
under American pressure, Rajdeep.
Gaurav,
Yes,
on
Mr.
that
Kumar.
point, I mean,
Yes.
I think we should be very responsible when talking about foreign policy. So I don't want to use terms like bravado terms like we're not buckling under pressure. Listen, we
It's
need
not
a deal
bravado.
with the
It's
United
visible
States.
to all, sir.
No, Gaurav, the reason why we managed to get a 20 years in working EU FTA to work out, because frankly, the European Union has finally realized they needed to work outside of the Trump universe. All of the EU has come together now to actually fight back the US's egregious behavior when it comes to Greenland and every other thing that they're doing with who they considered their natural partners. I mean, we're talking about probably the destruction of NATO over the next year if it were to happen. So this is something that's working on both sides now. I think most of the world outside the US is realizing that we don't know what this man is going to do next. So let's find a way to increase trade amongst each other, put our differences aside, so that our economies don't suffer while he goes on his tariff rampage. That's the reality of it.
Right.
But when it comes to our neighbors, I'll make a point about our neighbors. I think we made a mistake when it comes to our neighbors when we decided to starve SAARC or SARC by neglect. We tried, I think, a couple of other multilateral institutions, but nothing with that much vigor. And so we gave China enough wiggle room to go ahead and start influencing all our neighbors. Today, even though we have given aid to Sri Lanka, as you mentioned, Gaurav, we have not been able to turn that into any sort of strategic advantage there. Every single country around us has huge influence by China, and we are battling China tooth and nail there. We have lost what we had as a first mover advantage with SARC, and we did that ourselves by neglecting that multilateral institution where we had a nice, friendly multilateral institution to talk to these neighbors of ours. Today, you have anti-India rhetoric.
Mohan, you made your point. Mohan, you
Pakistan
made your
keeps
point. But the question
hitting
is,
us on terror, and we should continue even to kowtow to Pakistan like the manner in which post
Gaurav,
26/11 we did nothing.
Gaurav, I completely agree with you. I'm not saying that keep SARC, but if you want to build a multilateral institution with your neighbors without Pakistan, do that. Replace SARC. Don't eliminate SARC and not build anything else in its place.
let me
You know,
bring in
relationship with
Geeta.
Afghanistan,
the
for
fact
example.
you see, the fact though, Gaurav, is that if you cannot make hyper nationalism the basis of
It's
all your
not
foreign. No, 1 minute.
hyper-nationalism.
One minute. Out as the survey is saying, 54%. I'm only going by the numbers. 54% are admitting our relations with US have worsened. As Kumaramangalam said, there was this expectation that Trump had a personal, or Modi had a personal relationship with Trump, and it would work in India's advantage. That hasn't happened.
Japan is a treaty ally. He's
1 minute.
ill-treating
The poll-
Japan. South Korea is an ally. He's
1 minute.
ill-treating South Korea.
No, 1 minute. I'm only going by what the poll says. Similarly with neighbors. The fact is, with neighbors, you know that relationships have worsened with several of our key neighbors. Bangladesh is a classic example
It's
of it.
Bangladesh's fault.
No, 1 minute. Whose fault is it is another debate. At the moment, the fact is, you've got the foreign policy establishment saying one thing, Dr. Jaishankar going and condoling with Tariq Rahman, and the next day Mustafizur Rahman is banned from the IPL. You're getting mixed signals. I just want India's response to atrocities against Bangladesh minorities. 25% say adequate, 47% say need stronger measures. I would like to know what are those stronger measures. That maybe there is so much of jingoism, Geeta, in our in our political narrative, people are saying we want stronger measures. Do you see stronger measures possible against Bangladesh?
No.
If this is the mood of the nation, how do you respond? How should India respond?
Well,
Does India have a plan to respond?
India can't respond stronger than it already does in terms of statements because that's a sovereign country. We are having real trouble, Rajdeep, keeping Bangladesh on our side. And we've already lost Bangladesh with BNP and Jamaat there. But if we carry out stronger statements, if we put out stronger statements or carry out measures that are stronger than the statements that we're making, then we are going to rile a neighbor that's important, that could completely destabilize northeast of India. So India is being cautious. India is being careful. India has to be cautious and careful at this point in time. A stronger reaction is what maybe people would want. But if you see practically, if India does anything, if New Delhi does anything, it will not go down well in Dhaka.
Pradeep Bhandari, is social media and the people leading foreign policy? That because social media and the likes of Sangeet Som wanted action against Bangladeshi cricketers, government of India one day decided, Mustafizur Rahman ko hatao. Now, the same government is reaching out to Tariq Rahman, the BNP leader who's spewing anti-India rhetoric during the election campaign. So is Bangladesh an example of the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing?
Well, Rajdeep, I would appreciate if you, Gaurav, and the panel would give me 90 seconds because I was interrupted in 35 seconds and the spokesperson got 3 times the time which I spoke, and I will address each of your questions one by one. Rajdeep, when the data on 51% which said that our neighbours, our relationship with neighbours have improved, you used the term that you do not know who these 51% are. But with the same parameter in the logic, you said you applied the same argument which says that you should have been better in dealing with the relationship with the United States of America. So you cannot be selective in picking the data. If you believe one answer of this question, you should also believe the other of it. So as for your survey, we have done very well on the part of neighborhood. On the part of Bangladesh in specific, it's an evolving situation. But largely, if you look at the neighborhood, you were speaking about Nepal. Our trade with Nepal contribution is 60%. With respect to Sri Lanka, we were the first country that the Sri Lankan new president visited. On the part of Pakistan, we do not agree with Congress party of having a soft corner to Pakistan. So this is why the Congress spokesperson was looking at a regional alliance which has Pakistan. We believe in giving a befitting reply to Pakistan, whether it is in Operation Sindoor or in the past in surgical strike. Look at it in largely, Rajdeep. If you would have a question on your survey which says that has Prime Minister Narendra Modi dealt the foreign policy better than the UPA, you will see a resounding 90% agreeing to it. Because in a globally world which is volatile, which is turbulent, you have Prime Minister in the India representing a trusted, credible partner. This is why you have 8 FTAs. India is the only country which has managed to seal 8 FTAs with the largest bloc, keeping its economic sovereignty intact and keeping the red lines on its consumers, for example, in dairy and others. So if you look at it in entirety, yes, Prime Minister's position, India is a leading power. Yes, we do not succumb to international pressure when it comes to our national sovereignty. So it's about protecting your economic sovereignty and
I've given you 90 seconds uninterrupted.
Forward.
I've given you, Gaurav, what is your biggest takeaway on foreign policy? Do you believe that there is a need to be a little bit more cautious next time? You, as I said, went to Howdy Trump, Namaste Trump, that Trump 2.0 is a very different animal. Do you believe that is one lesson, that just be a little bit more cautious? Remember when the Prime Minister was sworn in, he invited all the SAARC leaders to come in, and yet some of those SAARC leaders, particularly Pakistan, betrayed us.
And Pakistan betrayed us. So India started, Prime Minister Narendra Modi started with a clean slate, inviting all SAARC countries. Didn't the Prime Minister say, let's have a SAARC satellite, let's have a SAARC connectivity? Does Pakistan permit that connectivity? We have good relations with Afghanistan despite Pakistan. We wanted good relations with Bangladesh and did under Sheikh Hasina. It's Bangladesh that went and spoiled those relations, not India. Even now, India continues to help Bangladesh. You know, a little statement on competing with the free trade agreement, what will happen to our textiles, what will happen to Bangladesh's textiles. So India is taking measures and effective measures that need to be taken. The neighborhood realized, even Maldives realized with an India out policy, they did not do very well. So they came and had good relations with India. That's the point, you know, this foreign policy appears to be making without compromising on India's national interest.
Okay. Raj, I
just one point very quickly to add. Rajdeep, you said that the public reaction is probably of jingoism. I doubt that. I mean, I feel like, you know, how could you see public reaction to what Jamaat is doing in Bangladesh as jingoism?
No, 1 minute. It's not Jamaat. The fact is, when you decide to remove a cricketer.
No, that's fine. That I
so,
agree with you.
I mean, that was driven by a social media outrage.
No, but is it just
I
social
mean,
media?
come on.
Is it
It
just
had
social
nothing to
media
do with
outrage?
Jamaat.
No, personally speaking, I am totally with you. When I also said that at a stupid
But
decision
if
to
I
remove a cricketer.
If I may, the government, whoever is making this decision is at least sending out the decision, killing of Hindus in Bangladesh is unacceptable. Why cannot, the entire nations come together and say you cannot continue to kill Hindus in that country?
But whether that has fulfilled our foreign policy objectives is another matter.
It's work in progress.
We don't know. We don't know. But Raj Chengappa, let's look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that we've had a survey which over the last few hours has shown Prime Minister Narendra Modi retains a high level of trust. His biggest advantage is he's providing political stability. The numbers of the BJP show that they are India's supreme election machine at the moment. The opposition is still seen as some level of disarray. There are questions over the economy. There are questions over foreign policy. So when you break down the big numbers, there are questions. Overall, though, as your cover says, there is this clear sense of an element, a strong element of stability that the Prime Minister provides, delivering stability. Do you believe that despite that positive note that it strikes, foreign policy economics needs to be looked at with far greater nuance and therefore a little bit more cautious rather than rushing in at times as we've done sometimes in the past?
Rajdeep, there are multiple messages that come out of this particular survey that's there. First, of course, as you mentioned, political stability, and therefore Narendra Modi gets the kind of numbers that he does, and that's a great pat on his back. But there are issues, and it's very creditable that in his 12th year he gets the kind of ratings he does, and the nation has reaffirmed, or there's a clear mandate for him to continue. They trust him implicitly to be the better leader, and therefore the opposition should learn from that if they have to compete and really dislodge Narendra Modi or the BJP or the NDA, they will have to take a couple of leaves from his book and the BJP's book and work hard towards doing that. So there's a big message for the opposition. If you take a look at the ruling party itself, there's a message that while the people back you quite enormously in what you're doing, in terms of economic policy, there is a dual reaction that is happening. Yes, you've done your best, but we need a lot more things to be done. And you can see that very clearly that he has to move from, say, a reform express to a bullet train speed to catch up if he wants to reach the Viksit Bharat on time.
Coming to
foreign policy and
foreign 20 seconds. Sorry, Raj, I have to end.
Because foreign policy,
we've completely...
we have to reinvent. On foreign policy, very clear that we have to reinvent our foreign policy. We have done well on certain fronts. There's problems on the other front. But Trump has upended every single international order rule that you know it. And we have to go back to our drawing board and see where
Raj,
we can make
I've run out of time. Gaurav, you need 10 seconds. Yes.
Okay, 10 seconds. But look at the expanse of our engagement. India, EU, done. Right now, you have a diplomat in Iran engaging with Iran, and you have the foreign minister who's, the American ambassador has just met him. So India's engaged all over. US has just had an advisory, do not travel to Pakistan. So those who think American relations with Pakistan are improving, clearly not. They're just being used like they have been in the past.
I'm going to leave it there. Gaurav Sawant was possibly also part of those who was polled in Mood of the Nation. At least he's given his mood very clearly as he does every night. At the end of the day, there's a wider nation out there and there are people of far more diverse views. And that's why the Mood of the Nation is important. This is a great country of diversity. The more we respect that diversity and difference of opinion, the stronger nation we become. Thanks for watching. Do read the latest India Today magazine for much more. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind, Namaskar.